Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Onam Kazar back with you for sharing another uh, aspect of my professional life, my teaching life. Uh, Before I go on to the topic, there were some teachers in my student life which used to give us notes, okay, like these handouts. Okay, some of them were handwritten, some of them were printed slides, and in many cases we didn't actually know from where these notes or slides are coming. We didn't know the source, and it sometimes, or in many cases again, it could have been a lagging from our side that we did not really pay attention to the to the initial parts of the lecture where maybe the teacher had explained it, and we did not really uh, went after the books. Okay, this is somewhat a lagging from students from all generations, from our generation, okay, till now. When you give the notes or handouts or slides to the students, they think that it is enough. Okay, and this is a lagging on their part, and since I am not no longer a student, I cannot now speak on their behalf, but I can talk about the teaching community, that some of us are scared to share these things with the students. Some of us are scared that what will happen, like we are cutting our own hands if we share the actual source with the student. Okay, and not only that, we are sometimes scared that the handouts or notes which we are providing, no matter how good or bad they are, sometimes they are not, they're not even good, but even then we are scared that somebody will use these slides and he will put his or her own name on it, and he will forward it to someone else. Okay, so this is the level of fear which we face as teachers, or which we experience as teachers for no reason. I don't find any apparent reason in this sort of a behavior. Why we are teaching something, okay, that was taught to us, or maybe we learned from reading the books or from our own research, but that thing is authentic. And in 99.9% of the cases when you are teaching, okay, I'm not talking about the research papers. The channel for publishing the research paper and disseminating the research paper is completely different. So you don't have to worry about it. The journals or the conferences which are publishing your research paper, they take care of the most part of it. Okay. In fact, we are the ones who are disseminating research papers, or we want them to be disseminated to a larger audience. Okay, in that case. But when it comes to teaching, 99.9% of the times we are disseminating something which belongs to someone else. Okay, so somebody wrote a book or somebody taught us, and that's how that information was or the information has come to us. Now we are just the vessel or the channel through which this information will go forward. Okay, so we don't have to worry about what will happen if somebody else puts his name on the slide. Okay, some of us, I keep on saying us because to some level I have been involved in that as well, and I generally feel that this should not be the case. Okay, and this is why I'm trying to rectify it by these videos and notes and these things. But in any case, uh, we should not be worried about if somebody else puts his or her name on our slides. It doesn't matter. Okay, some of us give protected PDF to the students. What for? You don't want them to read it or print it or send it to someone else. What do you have to lose? Okay. So we don't have to fear about sharing the information with the students and sharing it with the source. Okay, usually what I try is I share the source first, the book. Usually it's a book, the textbook. So I share the source first, and the notes or the slides are coming after that. So this is what I feel. But if you want to do the other way around or in some other way, it's no problem. Okay, but the point is, if the students are not interested or they are lagging on their part, again it is their problem. They are losing in the end. But as teachers, this is our responsibility that we should not be restricting anything to go towards the student out of fear. What will happen if that thing goes to someone else? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The major problem comes when you are preparing the exam questions. Okay. We put a lot of thought in how the questions should be, and how we can change it, what twists and tweaks we can do in those questions, so that it is somewhat testing for the student. This is the whole part of the exam that you are testing the knowledge and skill of the student. Very true, you should do that. But the thing is that we become very possessive about these questions. Okay, and I have seen teachers now becoming more frustrated with these online platforms. Okay, because you are giving the questions on an online platform, then it becomes very difficult for you to control that the questions do not go out of the duration or out of the the whole exam platform. Okay, most of the times it will go out. Okay, and then we are scared, we are worried how we will make new questions. It's not about making new questions, it's about testing the knowledge of the student. Okay, so for example, over the years you have prepared 100 questions, for example, and all those 100 questions are with the students. So he doesn't know unless you do some hanky panky. He doesn't know which of these 100 questions going to come in the exam. Now let's say in preparing for the exam he goes through all the 100 questions for one course, in some cases for one topic. What's the problem? After that he gets an A grade. So what? Do you remember yourself, or I seriously, I don't remember myself practicing 100 questions or memorizing or whatever they do, 100 questions for a course, even for a whole course. I don't remember that. 100 is a lot. We are taking a chance that one question from that topic will come. One question from each topic. Okay. If the topic is bigger, maybe you will get 2 questions. Okay, so if the problem is about the question bank, so if you have worked hard initially on your question bank, you have included all the variations which are possible from that topic in making a question. Okay, then you shouldn't be worried. If a student is good enough to go through all the variations, practice it, master it, and then produce it at the time of the exam. Remember, he is under stress at the time of exam. So if you can do all that, then what's the problem in getting him high marks? Okay, and if you feel that something more can be done, then do it. Teaching is not hard work just for the students, it is also hard work for the teacher as well. Okay, so keep on doing your hard work. Okay, and then in the end, if you feel no, now this cannot be improved further, now if the students can get to that level where you have reached being a teacher after so many years, if the student can master that level where you have reached, and now you are saying I can no longer improve it, I know I can no longer add to it, then good, he's at the same level as you. Okay, then this is a good thing, this is a good sign. Then you should be congratulating yourself that you have made the student same level as a teacher. This is like more or less the ultimate goal. Okay, one of my teachers he said that the ultimate goal of the teacher is to inspire the student to go ahead of you, to go ahead of you. Okay, so we are trying to inspire the student to go ahead of you, and then we cannot be scared that what will happen if he gets at the same level as me. Okay, this is not a competition. This is not a competition. Okay, there were some companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and then there were some other scholars of Islam after them, after the Arab companions, that they switched the roles of being a teacher and student. The pair of them switched the role of being a teacher and a student at different times. So for one particular time, X was the teacher of Y, and at another time they switched the role. The teacher became the student. Okay, so there is no problem if the student even goes ahead of you. He will still remain your student, and then you should be more proud of your student. Okay, that now look at him. And this is why, I feel school teachers are more at calm, like they are, more relaxed than higher education teachers. Okay, because obviously everybody goes through the school and they go higher to higher studies, and in most of the cases school teachers are school teachers because they don't have higher degrees. So many of their students get the high degrees, and it becomes a norm for them, and they become used to it, and then you can sense the happiness in them. They see a student who has become a pilot, a general in the army, a doctor, and they feel proud of them. They feel happy of them, and that student may know more theories and more literature and history than their teacher. Okay, but they are now used to it, and then you can see the proud feeling and the happiness in them. We as university teachers, because we are at the upper hierarchy of the education system, so we sometimes feel threatened that if a student goes ahead of me, what will happen? Okay, and this comes back to us. You would see many of the students, they complain they taught nothing to us at the university, and whatever we have learned from so and so. Okay, it is backfiring. This is basically backfiring. If you deliver all what you know, then this would not backfire, because the feeling goes through. The student knows that you are doing your best, then he will not complain, inshallah, in the end. That even if he has to learn something new from the field, he will not complain, inshallah. He will be happy with you, and you should be proud of him as well, if he gets to a level at which he knows more than you in a particular field, obviously. Okay, secondly, when you are scared, and when you become possessive of your course material and questions and these things, you stop to improve yourself. Okay, because in each semester, at each year, the material which you are producing to or delivering to the student, it is still new for them. You feel that it is still new for them, so I don't need to change it. I'm still delivering something new. Okay, and this is obviously a common feeling. So what happens? You stop improving yourself, because you have gone into a stage where you are calming yourself, relaxing yourself, that whatever happens, the student doesn't know what I'm talking about. Okay, this is something new for him. Okay, but if you share the information and you enable the student to research on their own, and come up with new ideas, they know the source, they can go to the book directly, and they can solve some questions from there on their own. They can, they may come up with some new questions. Then your thinking process doesn't end. Okay, then the process of continuous improvement keeps on happening. Okay, so continuous improvement at higher education is a very known concept, and it is encouraged. It is even a part of the accreditation processes that you need to show the continuous improvement cycle, and so on and so forth. So the continuous improvement at the micro level starts from here. Okay, when you enable the student to get to the same level as you, and you encourage him to go higher. Okay, and how can he go higher than what you are presenting in the class if he doesn't know the things which you already have? Okay, so giving the notes in advance, telling them about the book or books, okay, it does no harm. It does no harm whatsoever. Like I said, if the student works hard, he gets to a level where he is at the pinnacle of what you are teaching in the class. This is good. This is an achievement for you. This is an achievement for you. Okay, and let's say somebody comes in the next semester and he already knows what you have delivered last semester. He did something very good. He is being proactive. He is taking the charge. He is showing his commitment. You should love these students. If somebody comes after the exam and tells you, doctor, or sir, this question came in the last exam and I practiced it, so I knew the answer and I did it well, alhamdulillah, you should be proud of that student. You should be taking him as an example. Okay, and at the same time, maybe you should start thinking so when that student comes to you and says this, you will start automatically thinking about thinking about something new. Okay, this is a natural process. Okay, and if something new cannot happen, like I said, so this is again another achievement by the student, that he reached to a level where you feel you are fully saturated now. So reaching to that level by the student is an achievement. Let him do that. Okay, there is no problem, no harm in that. Okay, so so I was talking about the improvement process. The improvement is not only in the content. Okay, now over the years, the method of deliveries have also changed. The method of delivering the information has also changed. They call them different pedagogies: student-based learning, peer-based learning, and so on. So there are so many different approaches which have now come into the higher education system, and even in the lower education system, in the school level, that when you start thinking about improving, then these approaches will also be considered. Okay, because then you would know that I'm sharing this information fully to the students, but they are not getting it. You tried it once, you tried it twice, but you feel in that particular topic there is something missing. Somehow students are not getting it. So what would you do? You will look for some other approach to to deliver the information, some other pedagogy, some other platform with which you can deliver the information better to the student for that topic. Okay, so it will not only improve the content of your course, it will also improve your teaching methods and teaching style. Okay, but this can only happen if at the start you are honest and fully open to the student. If you are restricting the information yourself, then in the end, if the students don't perform, then you are a part of it. Okay, so don't keep the blame on yourself. I'm sharing everything, and I'm giving them the books, and I'm available for them. Okay, and I'm fully enabling them to take the information from me and discuss it in the groups and discuss it with the seniors. Okay, I'm giving them all these opportunities. Okay, this can only happen if the information is not restricted. Sometimes students go and take the help of their seniors. Again, no problem with that. They are taking an extra step just to grasp the course which you are teaching. This is good. Okay, so no problem. Be honest with them, be open with them, and then it will help you to improve the content of the course, and it will help you to improve your teaching methods. So I hope and pray and wish for all of us that Allah gives us the strength and the ability to do our job honestly and to deliver the information in a manner that is beneficial for the students as well as for us. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.